Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. And hot off the heels of the new Chapter 20 release, alongside a magazine cover story in the latest issue of Metal Hammer, in this video, let's dive a bit more into that cover story by Metal Hammer and see what Tobias has to say about V and when we can expect the full reveal of his personality and character. When asked about him, Tobias was quick to say, "I can't really talk about him." That's because, as Metal Hammer explains, even they weren't allowed to see what V looked like until they got shown a photograph out of an envelope minutes before the interview. And in a surprise reveal, they are told Forge doesn't fully flesh out these characters until they hit the stage live. Forge went on to say, "I can't give you a profiling because the way things worked with Papa 1, 2, and 3, and Cardi when he was new, was that he doesn't exist until he's one with the people. That might sound surprising coming from someone who has maintained tight control over Ghost's mythos since the beginning. And when asked if leaving such an important part of the band's mythos up to essentially live improv, he says, "It is. I've always felt that it was a scary thing. On one hand, I'm trying to make the product that is Ghost an entertaining thing for our fans. On the other, I try to do that as pleasantly as is possible for myself as well. When I decided to introduce Copia into the mix, it felt very uncomfortable because he was going to be thrown out there as someone who hadn't become a Papa Emeritus yet. Wow, this is going to be a little different." But what I did know was that I didn't have to go through the process of introducing a new character for the next album. Now I do. The interview also explored how V's arrival creates a new kind of narrative tension. For the first time, Ghost has two fictional figureheads, Copia and Perpetua. Past Papas have all met an unceremonious end, but Copia still remains, and Tobias hints at a surprising development. He believes that he's been demoted, whereas in essence, he's actually been promoted. So why keep Copia around? Does he still have a big part to play in the Ghost story? Or is Tobias just too fond of him to let him go? Tobias explained, "All of the above. He is very much a normal person with family issues, but he's a person that craves a sense of purpose." When asked if Tobias' own life journey is influencing Ghost at this point, he replied, "Most likely, yeah. Even though my background is not identical to Cardi's, there are echoes of my own life within there. Sometimes it might be a mixture of my own experience and others that I know, and then you put it in a potpourri that's more entertaining or understandable. But I think most creators will create from what they know, what they see, what they think, and maybe what they want to be." And as this interview for the magazine was conducted before Chapter 20 had released with the confirmation, when asked if Copia and Papa 5 Perpetua might actually be twins, something heavily hinted at in Right Here, Right Now, Tobias gave a cheeky answer: "They might be twins." Alright guys, now let's try to unpack this a little. It was honestly really surprising to hear that in a way, Tobias hasn't fully fleshed out V yet, even in his own mind. I'm sure he has some ideas, but not until that first show of the Skeletor in Manchester will Perpetua and his personality finally be revealed to not just the audience, but to Tobias himself. And what a treat that will be for anyone in attendance in that first show. My co-host for Skeletalk, who you know as Chronicle Ghoul, will actually be in attendance during that specific show, so I can't wait to talk to him the next day and get into all the details about the show and Perpetua as he shares his experience with us live on air, so don't miss that upcoming episode. But as I mentioned earlier, we now know that Copia and V are indeed twins, and it's going to be fascinating to see the story continue to play out, especially since we continue to develop Copia even more now alongside his brother. Since we have to wait until after some live performances in order for Tobias to get a handle on V, looks like we might be waiting until a chapter 21 or even 22 before we get that first interaction between brothers. but it's definitely going to be worth the wait. As a side note, can we all acknowledge how great Tobias is with his comedic timing during these chapters? This latest one especially has to be one of my favorites. But now it's up to you guys. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about Perpetua first needing to perform live before we get to experience what his personality will be like? And are you as pumped as I am to continue to see the story play out? If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all of our upcoming videos. And for more on Ghost, take a look at the rest of the channel, because if you have Ghost, you have everything.